Figuring out if you can legally carry a baton for personal safety can be, well, it can be a really complex topic, but it's absolutely crucial to understand. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the laws state by state to give you a much clearer picture of what's legal and what isn't.
So let's just dive right in. You see a tool like this, and the first question that pops into your head is pretty simple. Can I legally carry this for my own protection? And the answer? Well, it's not a straightforward yes or no. And that's exactly why we're here, to unpack all of that.
You know, the first roadblock you're going to hit when you try to understand these laws is the language itself. A lot of the statutes on the books use these really old, outdated terms, and honestly, it can be incredibly confusing. To know the law, you have to speak its language.
Now, before we get into those older terms, let's make sure we're on the same page. We're talking about a modern telescopic baton. It's a compact, extendable tool designed specifically for defensive use. You'll also hear it called an expandable or collapsible baton. Same thing.
Okay, here's where things start to get tricky. You're probably not going to find the words telescopic baton written in your state's laws. Instead, you're going to see these terms: billy, billy club, bludgeon, or sometimes just a really broad catch-all term like dangerous weapon. This gap between the legal jargon and the modern tool is where a ton of the confusion comes from.
All right, this next part is maybe the single most important legal concept you need to grasp in this whole area, and that is the huge difference between owning a baton and carrying it in public. In the eyes of the law, these are two very different things.
See, ownership just refers to having a baton in your home or on your own private property. But public carry, that's about having it on you when you leave your property. And as a general rule, the laws are much more permissive about just owning one. It's the public carry part where you'll find some really significant restrictions. You've got to know the rules for both.
Okay, let's zoom out and take a look at the big picture, the legal landscape across the entire country. We're going to do a national overview of state laws. But, and this is important, remember, this is a general guide to help you start your own research. It is not specific legal advice.
So you can see the states are kind of broken down into three general groups here. On the left, you've got the states that are generally speaking more permissive when it comes to public carry. That middle column, those are states where you need to be extra cautious and really verify your local rules. And then, over on the right, you've got places like Massachusetts, New York, and Washington, D.C., which are known for having much, much stricter public carry laws.
But hold on. Even if you see your state in that permissive column, that is not a green light to carry a baton absolutely anywhere you want. There are always restricted zones and critical exceptions that apply to everyone no matter where you live.
These are the big ones, the common no-go zones. We're talking about schools and school grounds, courthouses, government buildings, and of course, any secure area of an airport. These places are pretty much universally off-limits for carrying any kind of weapon. Your state's general law just doesn't apply in these sensitive areas.
If you want a perfect example of how quickly these laws can change and evolve, just look at what's happening in California. The federal court case Fouts v. Bonta is a case study in why you can't rely on old information. Staying current is absolutely critical. The bottom line is that the legal landscape in California is very much in motion. A district court did rule against the state's ban on batons, but that ruling is now under appeal. So for anyone in California, it means the old assumptions are gone. The situation is still developing.
And all of this brings us to the final and, frankly, the most important rule of all. You have to know your local laws. At the end of the day, the responsibility for staying compliant falls squarely on your shoulders.
And remember, you're not just checking one law. You have to check two. Your state law is just the starting point. City and county ordinances can, and very often do, add a whole other layer of restrictions. For example, your state might be fine with open carry, but your city could ban it completely. And that one local rule changes everything for you.
So let's put it all together. Here is your final actionable checklist. Number 1, check your state law. 2, check your city and county ordinances. 3, know those restricted locations cold. 4, understand that critical difference between just owning one and actually carrying one. And 5, always remember, a baton is a tool for lawful self-defense and nothing else. That's your framework for staying compliant.
The law is a living thing. It changes. The final responsibility is yours to verify exactly what's legal where you live and carry.
Thank you for trusting us with your safety.